The Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. Now, art, from design to fashion, they all hold the power to be vehicles for larger themes impacting society. From arts that make you laugh and puts you in a sense of whimsy, from some that are built on justice. Local experimental theater, A Host of People, prides itself in being a collective that brings justice to the forefront, making sure all people see themselves on the stage. The theater company explores a range of topics in their productions, including the ways that the American political landscape intersects with our personal lives every single day. Recently, A Host of People has a permanent location on Detroit's west side, further cementing its mission in a city that has no issue fighting back against injustice. Joining me now in studio to talk a little bit more about those changes is Sherrine Azab, the co-director of A Host of People. Sherrine, welcome to the Metro.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So, for those who have never heard of A Host of People, how would you describe what you do?
Yeah, so A Host of People is a multiracial theater ensemble that creates multimedia theater for social change. And what we mean about multimedia is that we use all sorts of technology to tell a more expansive story so that we can go even bigger and use all of these like images and the vibrant storytelling that allows us to do.
Yes. And, this is just a little, caveat in my brain, because as soon as I saw that, I thought about this question, I thought to myself, how have you implemented AI, if at all, into the work?
You know what? We have a very complicated relationship with AI.
Yes.
In fact, we're not using it very much. We're trying not to. Actually, we did an experiment with it a couple of, I would say, over a year ago, where we this new project that we're working on called Good Ancestors Shining Cities, which has 7 video performers. And these characters are supposedly coming from the future to our present to warn us about what we need to do to change our ways. One experiment we did was put some of our character ideas and identities into AI and sort of get some names and character profiles to give to the actors to write a voice for them. Yeah. And that's about the extent of what we used AI for, because we really pride ourselves in creating everything that we do from us.
Yes, and because we're not talking about that, would love to expand that in the future to talk to you about your use of AI or lack of use of it within the arts field and realm. But thank you for that. But there is a lot of experimentation in terms of the performances that you are producing, as you were just talking about a little bit. So do give us an example of the plays that you've been able to put on.
Yeah, so last year we started our Good Ancestors series. So for the next through 2028, we are going to be really focusing on what it means to be good ancestors today for our hopefully far-reaching descendants of the future. So last year, actually almost a year ago exactly, we opened Good Ancestors Peregrina with our longtime ensemble member and collaborator, Carlu Arlacón-Forshí. And it was a play really in memoriam for women who have lost their lives in Mexico and beyond. And what is the responsibility of us to keep their stories and voices to live on, and how do we use their stories to address violence against women, and how can we use our voices for change?
And the cool thing, too, reading up about that particular performance you're talking about, it was in Spanish with English subtitles.
Yeah, and that's the second time we've actually done, I guess that's the first time we've done a whole show in another language, but earlier we had done Cleopatra in Death More Radiant, that was looking at Cleopatra from an Arab perspective and how women are portrayed. And that was in Arabic and English, but 2 different dialects of Arabic. And so we had subtitles in both languages.
Which is just so unique to think about, because once again, there are nuanced stories, especially when we talk about just being a woman in the United States of America today. And the culture, where you're from, where you're born, your culture, all of that changes your perspective on the way that you live your life. So to have those put on the stage, just talk about the importance of having those really diverse but really nuanced stories on the stage.
Yeah, I think one of the things that A Host of People does well is looks for stories that are not being told as often. And one of the things that we do to bring these stories to life is that we look at the past to talk about what's happening in the present in order to imagine a more just and celebratory future for all. So I think I've talked a little bit about, two shows that really center women, but we also do shows that really center the LGBTQ community, and all sorts of different identities. And I think the thing that Host People is we are looking for the intersections of a multiple of identities and how people identify themselves so that people can see that we're, more the same than we are different, but celebrate our differences and be able to see that I can relate to that, even though it's not exactly my experience or story.
We need a lot of that
in
our world today. But, a cool thing this past weekend, you had a huge announcement. As a West Sider myself, I was super excited to hear this is going to be on the West Side, but you're planting roots there, just west of 96, north of 94. Talk about the location and how long in the making was this decision?
Yeah, so we announced on Saturday that we're going to finally have a permanent home for our Host People, not just for us, but for other artists in the city that are making performance and film, and we're so excited. We've been thinking about this. I'll be honest, I think I was the last in our organization to really come to we need a space and a home. I think I was dragging my feet but I want to make art. I don't want to take care of a building.
Yes.
And that has really shifted for me because we're all getting older. I'm getting older. And it's for the care of our entire production and design team, our ensemble, it really sort of became clear that the way we're producing is not sustainable anymore. We have been turning, empty spaces into theaters for a long time and have been partnered with amazing arts organizations and art spaces here. But all of the art making that we do, all the things we have are in our basement, in our garage, and every single time we're planning where are we building the sets, where are we storing it, how are we getting the stuff out of the basement and out of the garage and into a space that we're performing in. How much time can we afford to rent space? How much of our we are just professional schleppers at this point, and we're tired. And so this really became if we could take all of that away and just have all of our things in one location and really set roots, because we've been performing all over the city, which I think has been such a gift and also a little bit of a detriment, if I'm honest, because I think some people don't know who Host People is because of that. And I'm always surprised, the first question I get when I meet somebody that hasn't heard of us, they're like, oh, well, where is your theater? I was like, well, we don't have a theater, not till now. And so we make all of our work in our rehearsal space that's in our home.
Wow.
And then we've just been itinerant for the last 11 years.
You're listening to WDET. I'm Tia Graham. My guest is Sherrine Azab, the co-director of A Host of People, a Detroit-based theater company that had a huge announcement over the weekend that they have a permanent space on Detroit's west side, just west of 96 and north of 94. And Sherrine, you were just talking a little bit about the 11 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time to pull things out of your basement, build sets, and hopefully have them safe in a place where you can transport them. Talk about just that time, especially for yourself as a person, as a creative, like you were saying, and you just want to create, but now you have a space. So can you just talk about that 11 years leading up to this moment where you actually have a place to call home?
Yeah, I think that one of the advantages of dreaming about this for so long is really knowing that this is something that we need, and not just us, that there's so many people in this community, and that there are amazing spaces that are serving us currently, but we need more. Detroit needs more. And I don't think any of the other spaces would argue with that either, is that we need more homes for art making. We've lost a lot of our, art house film houses, and and that's something we are really excited that we could also be a part of in the landscape, and just continuing to grow the ecosystem, because we need spaces where we can experiment. We need more spaces where theater and dance can have longer runs. I think one of the challenges for us in the last 11 years is it would be a challenge to find a place that would give us a month that we would need for at least a week of tech and dress rehearsals, and then to have a 3-week run, and then no opportunity to extend if the show is successful, which is actually really important for a performing company to be able to do, that be able to keep going if something wants to have a longer life. We've done that by focusing on touring for the longer life of our productions. So we always premiere here, but then we now take our shows to Chicago, New Orleans, anywhere that will have us, in order to share our unique Detroit voice. Yeah. And so we're really excited that we can still have that opportunity in Detroit, but have it more intentionally and be able to not strain ourselves in the ways that we've been doing for the last decade plus.
And I can keep going on this building, but I know we're down to the last few minutes already. But I know. But I do want to talk to you about what's been going on, once again, politically in our political climate right now. You all pride yourself once again in justice and social justice and making sure that you are ahead of that and having those conversations. And, we covered a lot on this program is how arts and culture organizations are grappling with the critiques from the Trump administration targeting diversity, equity, inclusion, you name it. How is your organization approaching this moment that seems challenging for arts organizations everywhere?
It is a challenging time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say otherwise. It's a really challenging time. For a host of people, we have made the decision to not retreat in advance. We are just going to continue to be ourselves, to continue to make the work that we feel is important, and to keep spreading the message that the reason why arts are under attack and want to be controlled is because those people understand the power of narrative. And if you give the power and support the artists, we can actually make sea change. And so my call for actually everybody out here is to support your local arts organizations, support the artists, get them out there to continue to tell their stories because we can shift narratives.
And the narratives that I am interested in, honestly, with you all is the good ancestors for the future production. The idea of having these stories and telling these stories from a perspective of someone from the future saying, hey, guys, there are so many different things that are happening within the stories that you were just talking about, but go into good ancestors if you can for future production. What does it look like?
Yeah, for us, it's for the next show, Good Ancestors Shining Cities, we're really looking at how cities can hopefully change to become beacons of sustainability rather than places that just consume. And it's possible. We actually have cities are the biggest change to the surface of the earth that's ever been created. And so we also have the most potential for change because they're the most people concentrated in one place. And so we can do the most. And so the people in the story that come back and talk to us about it are giving us real examples, future thinking of things that we're already working on, of what we can do. And we're trying to share that message in a creative way. I also mentioned, that we love to look to the past. So we talk about the past a lot. We're going to be doing a show called Good Ancestors Lifelines that are hopefully going to show the invisible lines that are, between all of us and try to make them more visible of how we're connected. And we're also really interested in showing our history to be better ancestors, for the people to come. So we also have a Detroit theater history book project and archive that we're working on so that people can know where all this energy is coming from and where it's going.
Sure. I wish we had more time. Sherrine Azab is the co-director of a host of people. Thank you so much for joining us on the Metro, and we'll make sure to bring you back to talk a little bit more about everything you all are doing.
Thank you so much, Tia, and thank you, WDTE.
This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. You all have a great day.